Hey everybody and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Tami. Tami is an international software development company that designs, builds and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. Each week we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. Today, we have an incredible guest joining us, Wouter Van Respaille, who is co-founder and CTO at Henchman. Hello, Wouter. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Alexander?
I'm doing great too. Thank you that you've made time to join this morning us today. I believe it's important to begin our interview by getting to know you more on a personal level just before we jump into the discussion about your entrepreneurial story and about your company, to better understand you and your background. So, my first question will be, are you an early bird or a night owl? And how does this fact schedule impact your work and productivity?
I'd say I'm an early bird.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't always like that. I think I used to be a night owl.
Uh-huh.
But I'd say early bird. I wake up at, let's say, 7:30. And to be honest, I don't do much or anything special after that. I just shower. I don't get breakfast and I immediately go to work. I think that's the moment when I'm the most productive. There's not that many people that early in the office,
Mm-hmm.
so we can get work done. Starting from 9:30, people get in,
Uh-huh.
and there's more interaction. People are talking to each other. You get disturbed more, but I would say more an early bird.
Interesting. And how maybe you have some kind of tricks how to be motivated and productive during the day? Because I believe if you start the day at so early time at 7 a.m., so you need to be productive till,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know,
well,
what is...
yeah, it depends. Everybody is different. So for me, the reason I think because you just wake up,
Mhm.
so your head is still empty. You can still take a lot of information or be productive, but also in combination with focus time and being able not to be disturbed. And I think that's also linked with within the morning. So
Mhm.
productivity wise, it's immediately when you wake up, you're the most energetic. The more you go towards the evening, the less energy you have. So that's how I work. But I mean, I think there are a lot of types or a lot of ways to
Yes.
manage your energy, and I think a lot of people have
Mhm.
it the other way around. So
And the second question, are you more of a risk taker or do you prefer to play it safe? And how
Ah,
does
yeah,
this approach translate into your decision making as an entrepreneur?
it depends a bit. If you always play it safe, I don't think you get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Risk taking, we're not reckless, or I'm not reckless. It depends on which level. Definitely, if I look at Henchman now, we're very conservative. It's about security and privacy, even though that's Henchman, the company, and not personally. But personally, I would say maybe more calculated risks. If you take a risk and there's a possibility of failing, or of something going bad, you also have to calculate that then already. You already have to think
Mm-hmm.
about it. So I'm not going to take risk about fatal decisions or very sensitive decisions, but I would say I'm a bit more towards the risk taking uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
compared to playing it safe. Yeah.
And the question is a little bit connected with the previous. What is more important for the success of the business of the company, the ideas and innovation, or let's say execution and business plan?
I think they're all important. Um, Business plan is definitely, your pricing has to be right. Um, you have to know that you build something that people want, that companies want, and of course uh, that is linked with the cost that you have and the pricing that you ask. Besides that, innovation is also very important for us. Also because LLMs, large language models, and the whole ChatGPT hype really had an impact on legal. I remember when it came out last year in December, um, that there was really a type of panic. Well, panic is a big word, but we were very cautious about what's coming out, and definitely for legal, it's really impacted legal tech, and it's something we adopt sorry also very heavily inside of Henchman, and that's the innovation, right? It's because this came out and LLMs was already there, but the hype came. Also, customers and prospects, they became more, yeah, bit holding back, being like, okay, we'll see what happens, because Henchman was already a player in the legal space, but there were a lot of startups just popping up who said, hey, now we also do something legal, and it was just like a shell, or it is a shell around LLMs. Um, but yeah, innovation is also a very important aspect. That's also since LLM, also before, but since LLM we heavily put effort and on that. So yeah, business, innovation, they're all interlinked, if you ask me.
We definitely come back to this topic regarding Huntman and your challenges during your path. And one more question for you as from a personal level, and I believe it will be really interesting for your team to hear the answer. If you could swap roles with anyone in the company for one day, who would it be and why? You can name not only like the person, but the role of the person.
Yeah, it's not a person specific, I would say, but sales is interesting. Just if I think, because I have a good eye on what everybody does, of course, but sales is still the furthest away from engineering. Uh, as with engineers, if we develop features, we're a bit cautious. We're not going to be like, oh yeah, develop it at all costs. We have to think about security and then maintainability and all that kind of stuff. But then sales is sometimes a bit the other way around. It could be reckless, which it isn't. But yeah, I think it would be sales. It's a different tactic on how you approach things, how you are in meetings. Very structured also in meetings, which is different compared to how developers sometimes think. So yeah, I'd say sales, but it's not that I say like, oh, I really would like to do this or that. I'd just be more curious about the sales side because it's that far away from engineering.
Interesting to hear. And now I want to touch on the topic more about your company, about its founding, launching. Can you tell us the story behind the founding of Henchman?
Sure. So my co-founders, who are sales and marketing, so I have two co-founders. They actually started a startup before Henchman. It was called Interwool. It was an HR startup, and they successfully scaled it to 80 people, I think. And then they got acquired. And I was in contact with one of them, even before Henchman. He's a friend of mine, and when I got acquired, the two lawyers who did everything around funding and acquisition of Interval, they actually came up with this idea. And they said, okay, we're searching for something like this. We haven't been finding it, not in the way that we want. Everything automated, which is also an important aspect, but maybe later I'll explain what Henchman specifically does. And then they actually contacted Gilles, my co-founder. We all got together. So me, my co-founders and lawyers, and we actually said, okay, we're gonna build this. Yeah, that's how it originated. Starting from there, yeah, we 3 years or 2 years and a half later, and we're here.
Yeah, nice story. And so, Henchman is about developing a language and system agnostic technology. And there is no small feat actually on the market, I can say. What were the biggest technical challenges you faced while building Henchman, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, maybe I'll explain what Henchman does very quickly,
Yep.
and I can go
It will be
there.
really helpful for our
Yeah,
audience.
so currently lawyers, when they draft a contract, or before Henchman, and they think, oh, now I need a certain type of clause. I might have written something like this already in the past. My colleague might have written something, but I don't know where. By the way, they're all drafting in Word. They all use Word. And what do? They go to their document management system where they store these contracts. They open a lot of folders, contracts, files in the hope to find a certain clause. When they find that clause, for example, termination clause, they copy paste it from that opened document contract towards a working draft that they're drafting in that moment. Styling is then different because they copy paste it, they have to change their styling, etc. Next time they go to the same process. Juniors need to disturb partners. So to summarize, it's not really like a centralized way to search on clauses and definitions, really deep on a contract level. So what we do is we let legal firms and law departments connect with their database. And we automatically take in the contracts. So we see, is it a contract, yes or no? If it's a contract, we extract those clauses and definitions. And then we label them. We say, hey, this is this clause, this is this definition. And then what are we in essence? We're an add-in in Word. So what happens with Henchman? They are drafting a contract. They think, oh, I need a termination clause. They go to the add-in, which is just next to their working document. They type termination, and they actually see all termination clauses ever written, company-wide. So that's the idea. That's how it's originated, but now we already go way further. But just to answer your question, like technical challenges. So when we go back to the origin story, what was stopping me and my co-founder, not stopping, but we were a bit cautious on working on this idea that the lawyers bring to us, was there wasn't anybody who did something like this. So we thought, okay, nobody is doing this, or there's no market for it, or it's maybe impossible to do it. Well, nothing is impossible, but maybe timing wasn't right. In hindsight, timing was perfect. So we didn't know, is it possible, yes or no? And that was also, I think, the biggest technical challenge. And that was, in contracts, it's not a protocol how to write contracts. There is a convention how to do it, but it's not written in stone. So we worked a long time on that, and it's a bit hard to answer how did you overcome. I would say we just hustled our way through it. We know also that it doesn't have to be perfect. If you connect with a database of 500,000 contracts, which we do, or 1 million, if you score 80%, the clause that you want is going to be in there most of the time for the lawyer. So I think that was important to realize that it doesn't have to be perfect, definitely not in your first version. If it works well, and we're a bit of a search engine then also, a search database. If you look at Google, or also Twitter actually has an advanced search, there's only a certain type of content that's important. And that content, we want to put that content to the top. And of course, there's going to be trash and it's not going to work that well on certain contracts. We just have to make sure that the good stuff is being pushed to the top when you're searching for those clauses or for those definitions.
And I found also on your LinkedIn, if I'm not mistaken, not but your company, that you are implementing and onboarding customers within only single day.
Yeah.
It's quite impressive. And what strategies, what techniques do you employ to ensure such a seamless and efficient user experience?
So the onboarding is one core value of Henchman, is that everything needs to be automated. When we looked at competition, they require a lot of manual work. So the lawyers and legal firms are reluctant to adopt software that has a lot of manual work. They don't have time for that. They are very, very busy. If you compare it to other industries, they work very hard, or a lot of hours, so they don't have time to do that. So that was an important one, that everything is automated. And the other question was?
What strategies and techniques you employ to ensure such a seamless and efficient user experience?
Yeah, well, user experience as automation on the one side, what I just talked about, and it requires, of course, a lot of work, but it will help you in the future. And then user experience, I think just working close with lawyers and users, definitely in the beginning. I went to a lot of lawyers, legal firms, just asked a lot of questions, involve them early in the process. You don't have to, in the beginning, sell anything. You just say, hey, we want to test a product with you. You ask the lawyer, hey, what product, or even if it's not legal, you ask the user, hey, what do you want? What will make your life easier? And you build it, and you don't think too much about money yet. You just make something that people want. That's what probably a lot of people say in this podcast, but product market fits, that's the most important thing. And then later on, you can convert it to actual paying customers. But yeah, user experience, everything automated, not a lot of effort for the lawyer. And on the other side, user experience, you need to have somebody who really understands product and design and those kind of things.
You've paid our attention a little bit during the conversation regarding the importance of collaboration and knowledge sharing within the legal teams. How does Henchman facilitate collaboration among team members and enable them to leverage collective knowledge effectively?
Yeah. So collaboration, we're not that heavy focus on that, but definitely the collective know-how. We always call it like the digital gold. They have all this data, and they have no idea what they have. So they have all these contracts, and now we do things like suggesting clauses, suggested definition. We help them drafting, but more and more we go towards a review feature, or now that we have all these contracts, you want to have insights on them. You want to know, hey, I'm drafting I'm a lawyer and I'm drafting a contract for an M&A deal, so mergers and acquisitions, and an acquisition of Medicare startup. Like I would like to know over my company, what is the average acquisition price? And then based on that, I could make better decisions as a lawyer. So those are kind of the things that we focus on with Henchman.
We can say that startups often face challenges in acquiring and retaining customers. What your approaches in building a customer base and establishing Henchman as a trusted solution in the legal tech market?
Yeah. So attracting, we have a very good marketing team, and my co-founder is also heavily on marketing. So I think that brings in a lot of prospects that then we convert to sales. But also, if it's about retaining, we hired our customer success manager before we had our first customer. So we kind of promised her that there would be a lot of work. She came in and was like, yeah, but we're changing the product a bit. There's no customers yet. So she had a lot of time to prepare, but it also shows that you have to be very close with the customer. And that's what we did. We are in very close contact. We do a lot of workshops with customers. We create a lot of videos also, testimonials with them. And yeah, it goes very wide. It goes from customer success, but it also goes towards product that communicates a lot with the customer. So in essence, it's just be very close with your customer. If it's attracting or retaining, that's mostly about retaining. If it's about attracting, yeah, it's marketing. With Henchman, we have a very good story. We're in the news a lot. That's all very important for others, not only for customers, but just people who want to work with us or work at us. It's just important that you have a good story, that you're very present online.
You mentioned a few times that you have partners in founding the company, in founding the Henchman. And how does it feel actually for you personally to have partners, co-founders? Is it hard to split the responsibilities? Because I believe sometimes each of you have some kind of your personal ideas, and two of other need, for example, to stop or to challenge this idea. How does
Mhm.
it feel to have the partners?
Yeah, well, we get along very well. Also, we each have our responsibility. So yeah, I also always tell like maybe people who want to start something. Yeah, the most important thing is team, and that's it. And your co-founders, and you have to put, I think, time and effort. And definitely, if there's one area that you have to take your time, I think it's with the co-founders, with the people you do it with, that you're compatible, but also that you know them, that they have some work ethic, of course, that they're not going to stop in 1 or 2 years, how they work, and yeah, compatible. If I'm technical, I want somebody who's salesy, and somebody who's kind of the opposite of you, and responsibilities have to be clear in the beginning, and also what you want to get out of it. So definitely co-founders are very important. So just on a personal level or with Henchman, it's very clear because also my two co-founders, they've known each other for their whole life. I've known one of them also for a long time. I know how they are. So we're definitely compatible there and that aspect.
That's great. That's great that you managed to have this good relationship with your partners, because it's really important to have a good relationship within the team. So you are co-founder and CTO of Henchman, as we are talking about this. What aspects of your technical background and expertise do you believe have been most important in the success of the company?
Um, Nothing much, I would say. So no, before that, before Henchman, I was a freelancer. So I freelanced a bit as a programmer, so full stack. But to be honest, 99% of what I know uh, was with Henchman, of the start of Henchman, everything I did with Henchman, to be honest. Um, I think yeah, just because people are listening to this that maybe want to start something, yeah, you're not gonna learn a lot, I think, from podcast and other stuff. It can be inspiring, but again, everything I learned was from actually doing it and diving in and getting out there. I think that's important. So if you want to start something, you really have to network in the beginning and find those co-founders and talk with those customers. Um, so yeah, for me, I think that's the most important thing. So before that, of course, I had my technical background. To go a bit there, I had my technical background. I understand products. I also studied, which was a combination of design and programming. So I had that product feel and everything. Um, but of course, if you go to CTO and co-founder, it's everything technical. Suddenly you have to know everything that's technical. It's not just front and back end. Oh yeah, DevOps, and you have to be up to date with everything that changes all the time. So that's an important aspect, pure technical, but goes beyond that. And now you also do more management. You have to handle people and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a bunch of everything that you can't really prepare for. So you have to kind of experience the journey.
And you just mentioned that it's really important not to think about, for example, launching the company or listening to podcast or experts. You just need to do something in this way to launch the company, to create the business. And what is the most valuable advice will be for our listeners?
Yeah, maybe what you just summarized. I think really get out there. Um, as a rule, don't listen to podcasts. Don't be too much online. Be online just to connect with people and meet them and meet customers and that's it. That's the best advice because the beginning is the hardest. Also for myself, I always said I wanted to start something, but I was very picky on what I did. It had to be right. It has to be with the right co-founders. And before I also had opportunities to start something, but it just didn't feel right. Uh, and definitely the co-founder, that's the most important thing, and team. Of course, ID, that's maybe less important. People always say it's 99% execution and then 1% the ID, but I don't think that that's the right amount. But ID is important, but not that important. You can still pivot. You have to talk to customers, and let's say you want to make something for lawyers, but it turns out it's not that's what they want. But by talking to them, you learn that there's something else. There's another need in the legal space that you can solve. So yeah, that's the most important thing. And yes, in the beginning, it's the hardest because that's starting. Uh, and definitely, let's say you do something alone, it's even harder. You have to motivate yourself the whole time, and also maybe be honest with yourself. Are you an entrepreneur or not? I don't think it's a black or white thing. I think there's a lot of in between, and you can have a bit or certain aspects, so you can be very curious. And yeah, go for it.
And only one last question from my side. Do you believe that the person need to be born with the entrepreneurial instinct, let's say, or it can be gained during the experiences?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you have to be born with it. Some people are. Again, for me, it's not black or white. It's not one or zero. There's all aspects. People can grow into it. Some people start a company. Some people, definitely technical people. I think technical people have less that, oh, entrepreneurial, I start 5 companies. Some technical people just join others and they're very good at what they do and they work hard and that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, I think it can grow on somebody. Not black or white. If you ask Elon Musk, was he a born entrepreneur? Then the answer is yes, and everybody will say that. And there are a lot of those, but there's a lot of other ones also who started a company with some other people. They really enjoy doing it, and they are not that entrepreneur as the big ones, but they are.
Yeah, you're deadly right, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. As it was my last question, we are happy to again thank you for this incredible interview and for sharing your thoughts and the story of Henchman. I believe you are doing, guys, great things, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.